Faraday's laws of electrolysis. In Faraday's laws of electrolysis, Faraday described the relationship between the quantity of charge passed through the electrolyte and quantity of substance liberated at electrode. So he described the relationship between the quantity of charge passed through the electrolyte and quantity of substance liberated at an electrode. So he described the relationship between the quantity of charge passed through the electrolyte and mass of the substance deposited or liberated at an electrode in the form of two laws. They are called first law and second law. Faraday's first law. The mass of substance deposited or liberated or dissolved at an electrode is directly proportional to quantity of charge in coulombs passed through an electrolyte. So this is the statement of first law. Mass is expressed in grams. Deposited. Generally, we use this term for metals. Metals will deposit on electrode. Deposited. Liberated. In cases of gases, we use the term liberated. So sometimes gases may also liberate at electrode. Dissolved. We already discussed in the previous class. If active electrodes are used for electrolysis, anode dissolve in the electrolyte and deposit on the cathode. So for that we use the term dissolved. At an electrode is directly proportional to quantity of charge in coulombs passed through an electrolyte. This is the simple statement of first law. The mass of substance deposited or liberated or dissolved at an electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of charge passed through an electrolyte. Now let us discuss the first law. Now, before going to discuss first law, we know that charge on electron approximately 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Total charge on 1 mole of electrons. What is the total charge on 1 mole of electrons? 6.023 into 10 power 23, this is Avogadro number, into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, which is approximately equal to 96,500 coulombs, which is equal to 1 Faraday. 1 Faraday of charge is 96,500 coulombs. 96,500 coulombs of charge is treated as 1 Faraday. What is 96,500 coulombs? It is nothing but charge on 1 mole of electron. So, when 1 mole of electrons are transferred between the two electrodes, then the charge entered in the electrolyte is said to be 1 Faraday. See, this is electrolytic cell. Let us suppose that this is an electrolyte in the aqueous solution or in the molten state. Now, here two metallic plates are dipped and these are connected to the battery. So this is negative term of the battery, this is positive term of the battery. When battery is switched on, then electrons move from negative terminal of the battery and then current flows into the electrolyte. Then electrons will reach to positive terminal of the battery. This we discussed in the previous class. So, if 1 mole of electrons are transferred from negative terminal of the battery to positive terminal of the battery, the charge entered in the electrolyte is 96,500 coulombs approximately, and which is equal to 1 Faraday. Is it clear to you? It is very important. Whenever 1 mole of electrons are transferred from negative terminal of the battery to positive terminal of the battery, the charge entered in the electrolyte is said to be 96,500 coulombs and it is equal to 1 Faraday. So, once again, charge on electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Charge on 1 mole of electrons is 96,500 coulombs. And this is 1 Faraday. It is equal to 1 Faraday. So, 1 Faraday of charge, 96,500 coulombs of charge will enter in the electrolyte when 1 mole of electrons are transferred from negative terminal of the battery to positive terminal of the battery. Okay. Now, see, for example, it is let us suppose that molten AlCl3 is there. Already you know, in molten AlCl3, Al3 plus ions are present and Cl minus ions are present. Al3 plus ions discharge at cathode. Cl minus ions will discharge at anode. Okay. If electric current is passed through molten AlCl3, Al3 plus ions will discharge at cathode. Cl minus ions will discharge at anode. Okay. Now, how does Al3 plus ion discharges? Discharging means losing its charge. Al3 plus ion gain 3 electrons there and deposit as Al. So Al3 plus ions gain 3 electrons gives rise to Al. So this equation represents the discharging of Al3 plus ions at cathode. Al3 plus, because 3 units positive charge is there, therefore to lose its charge it should gain 3 electrons. After gaining 3 electrons, deposits as aluminum. Right. Let us understand this equation simply. One Al3 plus ion gains 3 electrons, thereby one atom will deposit. One ion, Al3 plus ion, to lose its charge, to discharge at cathode, requires 3 electrons, thereby one atom of aluminum deposit on the cathode. Right? Now, according to this equation, if 1 mole of ions are discharged at cathode, so how many moles of electrons are required? 3 mole of electrons are required. For 3 moles of electrons, how many atoms are deposited? 1 mole of atoms will deposit. For 1 mole of ions, 1 mole of ions gain 3 mole of electrons, thereby 1 mole of aluminum will deposit. See, already you know 1 mole of electron is, charge on 1 mole of electrons is 1 Faraday. So 3 moles of electrons charge equals to 3 Faradays. So 3 Faradays of charge deposit 1 mole of aluminum. What is the gram atomic weight of aluminum? Gram atomic weight of aluminum is 27. So 3 Faradays of charge deposits 1 gram atomic weight of aluminum, that is 27 grams. So 1 Faraday of charge deposits how much? It is 27 by 3, that is equal to 9 grams. Now 27 grams is the gram atomic weight of aluminum. If 27 grams is gram atomic weight of aluminum, what is 9 grams? 9 grams is nothing but its equivalent weight. See, equivalent weight of Al3 plus is its gram atomic weight by n factor, valency factor, n factor, valency factor. So, equivalent weight of aluminum is 27 by valency factor or n factor oxidation state, which is 9. So this is the equivalent weight of aluminum. So from this we can understand that if 1 mole of electrons are transferred from negative electrode to positive electrode in the electrolytic cell, the charge entered in the electrolyte is 96,500 coulombs, that is 1 Faraday. So 1 Faraday of charge, 1 Faraday of charge deposits 1 gram equivalent, 1 gram equivalent weight of substance. Not only applicable for aluminum, applicable for all. So once again, 1 mole of electrons are transferred from negative electrode to positive electrode. So that is 96,500 coulombs of charge enters in the electrolyte. Then the charge entered in the electrolyte is 1 Faraday. 1 Faraday of charge can deposit 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance. Now, see, 1 mole of electrons are transferred between two electrodes, that is 96,500 coulombs of charge will enter in the electrolyte. That is equal to 1 Faraday. 1 Faraday of charge deposits 1 gram equivalent weight of substance. 1 mole of electrons are transferred from one electrode to other electrode. 96,500 coulombs of charge will enter in the electrolyte. That is equal to 1 Faraday of charge. 1 Faraday of charge will deposit 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance. If 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance is deposited at the electrode, that means 1 mole of electrons are transferred between the electrodes. If 1 mole of electrons are transferred between the two electrodes, charge entered is 96,500 coulombs, which is 1 Faraday. So 1 Faraday of charge can deposit 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance. 96,500 coulombs of charge deposits 1 gram equivalent weight of substance. 1 mole of electrons will deposit 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance. Important, remember. Now recall the first law. Recall the first law. If mass of the substance, what is the statement of first law? That mass of the substance deposited at an electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of charge passed through the electrolyte. Right. See, 1 Faraday will deposit 1 gram equivalent weight. Or you can say 1 equivalent. So 2 Faradays will deposit 2 equivalents. Half Faraday will deposit half equivalent. Now, in case of aluminum, see, already we know equivalent weight of aluminum is 9 grams. So 1 Faraday will deposit 9 grams of aluminum. 2 Faradays will deposit 18 grams of aluminum. And half Faraday will deposit 4.5 grams of aluminum. So this is what first law of Faraday. So the mass of the substance deposited is directly proportional to the quantity of charge passed through the electrolyte. Right? Now see. W is proportional to Q. W is proportional to Q. Where W is mass of the substance. Where W is mass of the substance deposited at an electrode. Q is quantity of charge in coulombs passed through the electrolyte. Now, but Q is equal to C by C into T. Q is in coulombs, where C is strength of current in amperes. T is time of electrolysis, must be in seconds. So 1 coulomb is equal to 1 ampere current into 1 second. So if 1 ampere of current is passed for 1 second, if 1 ampere of current is passed for 1 second, then charge entered in the electrolyte is said to be 1 coulomb. I think this you studied in physics also. Q is equal to C into T. So therefore, W is proportional to C into T. Therefore, W equal to ECT. Or you can also write here W is equal to EQ, where E is the proportionality constant. E is small e, remember. Small e is electrochemical equivalent. Electrochemical equivalent. Small e is a proportionality constant known as electrochemical equivalent. Now see, if Q is 1 coulomb, then W is equal to E. Or if C equal to 1 ampere and T is 1 second, then W is equal to E. So electrochemical equivalent can also be defined as mass of the substance deposited by 1 coulomb of charge. Mass of the substance deposited by 1 coulomb of charge. Or electrochemical equivalent is the mass of the substance deposited when 1 ampere current is passed for 1 second. The mass of the substance in grams deposited by 1 coulomb of charge is called its electrochemical equivalent. Remember, electrochemical equivalent is not universal constant. Its value is not same for all the substances. See, in ideal gas equation, PV equal to nRT, R is constant, R is a proportionality constant. But there, R value is same for all the gases. So that is why it is called universal gas constant. But small e is not universal constant. Small e is a constant for a given substance only. Small e is not an universal constant. Electrochemical equivalent is not an universal constant. Its value, or you can write, each substance has its own characteristic E value. Or electrochemical equivalent can also be defined as the mass of the substance deposited at an electrode when 1 ampere current passed through an electrolyte for 1 second time. Mass of the substance deposited at an electrode when 1 ampere current is passed through an electrolyte for 1 second time. Now see, small e is equal to W by Q, or small e equal to W by Ct. Therefore, units of E grams per coulomb or grams per ampere second. So very important. Small e electrochemical equivalent, it is the mass of the substance deposited by 1 coulomb of charge. Now, mass of the substance deposited by 1 Faraday of charge or 96,500 coulombs of charge is its equivalent weight. So in this topic we represent equivalent weight by simply E. Remember, they are different. Small e, electrochemical equivalent. Capital E, equivalent weight of the substance. Remember, they are different. Electrochemical equivalent weight is the mass of the substance deposited by 1 coulomb of charge. Capital E is equivalent weight. It is deposited by 1 Faraday of charge or 96,500 coulombs of charge. Therefore, relationship between small e and capital E is E is equal to small e into 96,500. Capital E is the equivalent weight. It is the mass of the substance deposited by 96,500 coulombs of charge. Small e is weight of the substance deposited by 1 coulomb of charge. Therefore, it is the relationship between capital E and small e. 1 coulomb of mass for 1 coulomb of charge into 96,500, that is equal to equivalent weight of the substance. Now, W is equal to ECT and W is equal to now ECT by 96,500 or W equal to ECT by F. So already know what is W. W is mass of the substance deposited at an electrode. E is the equivalent weight of the substance deposited at electrode. C is the strength of the current in amperes. And T is the time of electrolysis in seconds. F is 96,500. So this is first law. Now, equivalent weights of some metals. Equivalent weight equal to atomic weight by n factor. So, equivalent weight of sodium, equivalent weight of Na plus, because in sodium salt, sodium is in the form of Na plus. Therefore, atomic weight 23 by 1. Equivalent weight of magnesium, magnesium salts, Mg is in the form of Mg2 plus, 24 by 2, 12. Equivalent weight of potassium in potassium salts, atomic weight by 1. Similarly, ferrous salts, Fe2 plus, atomic weight by 2. Ferric salts, equivalent weight of Fe3 plus, atomic weight by 3. Here 56 by 2, 28 grams. Here equivalent weight of iron 56 by 3, 18.66 grams. Cupric salts equivalent weight of Cu2 plus 63.5 by 2, 31.75 grams. Zinc salts 65.4 by 2, 32.7 grams. Equivalent weight of Hg2 plus 200 by 2, 100 grams. Equivalent weight of gold, auric salts 197 by 3 grams. So like that we have to calculate equivalent weights of metals in the metal salts. Equivalent weights of non-metals, generally gases. See, first hydrogen. Hydrogen gas is liberated at cathode. How will you represent the discharge of hydrogen? In previous class we discussed. 2H plus, 2 electrons gives rise to H2. See here, 1 mole hydrogen gas liberated for 2 mole of electrons. 1 mole of hydrogen gas liberates for 2 mole of electrons, charge on 2 moles of electrons. So therefore, N factor is 2. Therefore, N factor is 2. Now, equivalent weight of hydrogen is, now you have to take molecular weight. Gram molecular weight by N factor 2 by 2, 1 gram. Sometimes volumes of gases, quantity of gases are expressed in terms of volumes also. Then we have to say equivalent volume. Equivalent volume of hydrogen at STP. Gram molar volume by N factor 22.4 by 2, 11.2 liters. So this is gram equivalent volume of hydrogen. 1 mole of hydrogen gas liberated by transfer of 2 moles of electrons from negative electrode to positive electrode. Therefore, N factor is 2. Equivalent weight of hydrogen is molecular weight by N factor, thereby 1 gram. Sometimes quantity of gases are expressed in terms of volumes. Equivalent volume of hydrogen is gram molar volume, because at STP 1 mole of any gas occupies 22.4 liters by 2, that is 11.2 liters. So therefore, remember, equivalent weight of hydrogen is 1 gram. Equivalent weight of hydrogen at STP 11.2 liters. See, sometimes hydrogen liberates at anode also. Hydrogen at anode. See, in case of hydrides, metal hydrides, metal hydrides, metal hydrides. See, for example, CaH2. Calcium is highly electropositive metal. So therefore, calcium oxidation state is 2 plus and hydrogen -1. So it is a metal hydride. Oxidation state of hydrogen is -1. Now, at anode, 2 H minus ions discharge and liberate hydrogen gas by the transfer of 2 electrons. So H minus ions will discharge at anode, hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, now 1 mole hydrogen gas liberated by 2 mole electrons. Therefore, N factor again 2. So therefore, equivalent weight of hydrogen is 2 by 2, 1 gram, and equivalent volume of hydrogen is 22.4 by 2, 11.2 liters. So don't try to calculate every time. If hydrogen came in the problem, then immediately equivalent weight of hydrogen is, whether it is liberated at anode or whether it is liberated at cathode, its equivalent weight is 1 gram and equivalent volume is 11.2 liter. Now, in case of chloride, chloride, 2 Cl minus ions discharge at anode. 1 mole chlorine gas liberated at anode by the transfer of 2 mole of electrons. Therefore, N factor is 2. So therefore, equivalent weight of chlorine is gram molecular weight, because it is molecule, by N factor. It is 71 by 2, 35.5. This is the equivalent weight of chlorine. So in the same way, you can calculate the equivalent weight of bromine, equivalent weight of iodine also. Now, equivalent volume of chlorine at STP conditions, gram molar volume by N factor. Gram molar volume is 22.4 by 2, 11.2 liters. So this is the equivalent volume of chlorine. Another important one is oxygen. In case of oxygen, see, if it is a metal oxide like MgO, so MgO, let us suppose that it is in the molten state. Now, it has Mg2 plus and O2 minus. Okay, now O2 minus discharge at anode as O2. In case of metal oxide, O2 minus ion is present. So O2 minus ions will discharge at discharge at anode as oxygen. To balance this, Two oxygen atoms are there. Therefore, two oxide ions are required. 2 into 2 minus 4 minus. So 4 electrons. Now atoms are balanced, charges are balanced. Now here 1 mole oxygen gas is liberated for 4 mole of electrons. So therefore N factor is 4. Now equivalent weight of oxygen gas is gram molecular weight by N factor. It is 32 by 4, 8 grams. This is the equivalent weight of oxygen. Next, equivalent volume of oxygen. In case of volume, you have to take gram molecular volume by N factor. Remember, condition is STP. 22.4 by 4, 5.6 liters. Remember, for oxygen, equivalent weight is 8 grams and equivalent volume of oxygen is 5.6 liters. Now, in case water discharges, if water discharges at anode, if water discharges at anode, then also oxygen gas will liberate. Now, two H2O. Here we will get O2 plus 4H plus 4 electrons. If water discharges at anode. So in this case also 1 mole oxygen liberated for 4 mole of electrons. No need to see the number of moles of water here. We are considering the volume of oxygen, equivalent volume of oxygen or equivalent weight of oxygen. 1 mole oxygen liberates here. If 1 mole of oxygen is liberated, 4 mole of electrons will transfer from negative term of the battery to positive terminal of the battery. So again in this case also N factor is 4. So therefore equivalent weight of oxygen is 8 grams and equivalent volume of oxygen is 5.6 liters. So remember, for hydrogen, equivalent weight is 1 gram, equivalent volume is 11.2 liters. For chlorides, bromides and iodides, chlorine, bromine, iodine will liberate. For them, molecular weight by 2 or equivalent volume equal to gram molar volume by 2. In case of oxygen, equivalent weight is 8 grams, equivalent volume is at STP, remember, 5.6 liters. How many Faradays of charge required for reduction of 1.5 mole of MnO4 minus ions in acidic medium. In +1 redox reactions topic we learned, and stoichiometric topic also we learned how to calculate equivalent weight of potassium permanganate in acidic medium, basic medium, neutral medium. Potassium permanganate is a strong oxidizing agent and it acts as oxidizing agent not only in acidic medium, basic medium and also neutral medium. Now, to solve this problem, you have to know how MnO4 minus ion reduces in acidic medium because it's an oxidizing agent. MnO4 minus is oxidizing agent. Therefore, it undergoes reduction. How it reduced in acidic medium? MnO4 minus ion always reduce as Mn2 plus in acidic medium. This we learned in stoichiometry and also redox reactions. MnO4 minus ion reduced as Mn2 plus in acidic medium. Basic medium and neutral medium, MnO4 minus ion reduces as MnO2. Now, to know the Faraday's of charge required for this reduction, you have to balance this equation by ion-electron method. Now, balance atoms except oxygen and hydrogen. Manganese balanced. 4 oxygen atoms are there. How will you balance oxygen atoms? By adding water molecules. In which side oxygen atoms are deficient? Next, balance hydrogen atoms. How will you balance hydrogen atoms? By adding H plus ions. So here 8 hydrogens are there. There is no hydrogen. So therefore add H plus ions. Now this side 2 plus total charge. This side 8 into +1 minus 1 plus 7. So we have to balance the charge. How will you balance the charge? By adding suitable number of electrons. See, +7 plus 2. So what is the difference in charge? 5 units. Therefore add 5 electrons. MnO4 minus 8H plus 5 electrons gives rise to Mn2 plus 4H2. So this is balanced chemical equation. Suppose if you forget how to balance the redox reactions by ion electron method, just refer the +1 notes and you have to learn it because you have to solve the problems on this model also. Very, very important. So just revise how to balance the redox reactions by ion electron method in acidic medium and also basic medium. Very important, remember. Now see, atoms are balanced, charges are also balanced. Now according to stoichiometry, 1 mole MnO4 minus ions require 5 mole electrons. 1 mole MnO4 minus require 5 Faraday of charge. For 1.5 mole, how many Faradays of charge is required? So it is 7.5 Faradays of charge is required. Now, same problem. I'm giving one more example on the same model. How many Faradays of charge required for reduction of 2.5 mole of potassium dichromate, or you can write dichromate, ions in acidic medium. How many Faradays of charge required for reduction of 2.5 mole of dichromate ions in acidic medium? So we know that potassium dichromate acts as oxidizing agent in acidic medium only. The fundamental equation which represents the reduction of dichromate ions is Cr2O7 2 minus Cr3 plus. Dichromate ions always reduce as Cr3 plus in acidic medium. Now see, to balance this, 7 oxygen atoms are there. First take chromium, 2, 7 oxygens, 7 water molecules, 7 into 2, 14 hydrogens, so 14H plus. Then balance the charge. See, plus 14 minus 2 plus 12 plus 6, difference is 6, add 6 electrons. So therefore, for 1 mole of Cr2O7 2 minus ion, 6 Faradays of charge is required, because for 1 mole 6 mole electrons are required. Therefore, for 1 mole 6 Faradays of charge is required. For 2.5 mole, how many are required? So it is 2.5 into 6. 15 Faradays of charge is required. Now, second law, Faraday's second law. If same quantity of charge is passed through different electrolytic cells, which are connected in series, if same quantity of charge is passed through different electrolytic cells, see, same quantity of charge will enter in the electrolytic cells if they are connected in series, remember. Then the mass of the substances deposited or liberated at electrodes is directly proportional to their equivalent weights only. So this is the statement of second law. If same quantity of charge is passed through different electrolytic cells, so same quantity of charge will enter into the different electrolytic cells when they are connected in series. Then mass of the substance deposited or liberated at electrode is directly proportional to their equivalent weight. This is the statement of second law. Now see. See, for example, this is an electrolytic cell. Solution is there. Two metal rods are dipped in it. Similarly, another electrolytic cell. Solution of electrolyte is there. Another electrolytic cell. Different electrolyte is there. Two metal rods are dipped in it. Now let us suppose that it is a dilute sulfuric acid solution. This is aqueous solution of copper sulfate and this is aqueous solution of AgNO3. Now, if these are connected like this, this is positive term of the battery, this is negative term of the battery, it becomes positive electrode, it becomes negative electrode, and this is positive electrode, negative electrode, positive electrode, and this is negative electrode. So there are three different electrolytic cells, three different electrolytes are present in the solution, and these are connected in series. If battery is switched on, then let us suppose that 1 Faraday of charge entered in this solution. The same quantity of charge will enter in this solution. Same quantity of charge will enter in the solution. Here, let us take a cathode. Anode also same, but I am taking cathode. At cathode, here, hydrogen gas will liberate. Here, copper is deposited. Here, silver is deposited. So, in this electrolytic cell, at cathode, hydrogen gas will liberate. At this, copper is deposited. In this cell, at cathode, silver is deposited. So, already you know, 1 Faraday of charge can deposit 1 gram equivalent weight of the substance. So, what is the equivalent weight of hydrogen gas? It is 1 gram. So 1 gram hydrogen gas will liberate here. Copper 31.75 grams copper will deposit. 108 grams silver will deposit. Let us suppose that if 2 grams hydrogen is liberated at this electrode, cathode, in this cell, definitely 63.5 grams copper will deposit here, 216 grams of silver will deposit. If 0.1 gram of hydrogen is liberated, how many equivalents? 0.1 equivalent. So therefore here 3.175 grams of copper will deposit. Here 1.08 grams of silver will deposit. So if one or two or more different electrolytic cells are connected with in series, then same quantity of charge will enter in the different electrolytes. Then weights of the substances deposited is directly proportional to their equivalent weights only. So masses of the substances deposited at electrode directly proportional to equivalent weight. This is mathematical expression for second law. Very simple. W is proportional to E. What is W? It is mass of the substance deposited at electrode. What is E? Equivalent weight of the substance. So therefore, you can write it as W1 by W2 is equal to E1 by E2. Or W1 by E1 is equal to W2 by E2. So that means equivalence of first electrolyte is equal to equivalence of second electrolyte. Means number of equivalents of copper is equal to number of equivalents of silver. This is Faraday's second law. Now write down some questions. The number of Faradays required to produce 1 gram atom of magnesium from MgCl2 is dash. Passage of 96,500 coulombs of electricity liberates dash liters of oxygen at 273 degrees Celsius and 2 atmosphere during electrolysis. How many electrons flow when a current of 5 amperes is passed through a solution for 200 seconds. The current of 9.65 ampere flowing for 10 minutes deposit 3 grams of a metal. The equivalent weight of metal is dash. The number of Faradays required to produce 1 gram atom of magnesium from MgCl2. See, Mg2 plus MgCl2 solution contains, or MgCl2 molten electrolyte contains Mg2 plus 2 electrons Mg. So 1 mole magnesium atoms, that is 1 gram atom. 2 mole electrons, 2 Faradays. 2 Faradays of charge deposits 1 gram atom of magnesium. Next, 96,500 coulombs of charge is passed, oxygen gas is liberated, and electrolysis is carried out at 273 degrees Celsius and 2 atmospheres. So first we have to calculate at STP conditions. We know that 1 Faraday, that is 96,500 coulombs of charge, deposits or liberates. What is the equivalent volume of oxygen? 5.6 liters. So 5.6 liters of oxygen is liberated at STP conditions, but electrolysis is carried out at 273 degrees Celsius and 2 atmospheres. Now, convert the volume of oxygen at experimental conditions. So, at STP conditions, at experimental conditions, STP conditions P1, V1, T1. P1 1 atmosphere, volume 5.6 liters, T1 temperature 273 Kelvin. Experimental conditions P2 2 atmosphere, V2 we don't know, T2 546 Kelvin. Now apply the equation. Equation of state P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. P1 1, V1 5.6, T1 273, P2 2, V2 546. So therefore V2 is 5.6 liters only. So therefore at a 273 degrees Celsius and 2 atmosphere pressure, we will get a 5.6 liters of oxygen. So these are main level questions only, JEE main level questions. So I will give advanced level questions in the next class. Next, how many electrons flow when a current of 5 amperes is passed through a solution for 200 seconds? Now, Q is equal to C into T. C, 5, 200 seconds. So therefore 1000 coulombs. For 96,500 coulombs, 6.023 into 10 power 23 electrons will flow. Now for 1000 coulombs, how many electrons? So 1000 into 6.023 into 10 power 23 by 96,500. The current of 9.65 ampere flowing for 10 minutes deposit 3 grams of metal, equivalent weight of the metal. So, according to Faraday's laws, one equivalent weight of the metal is deposited by 1 Faraday of charge. One equivalent weight of the metal is deposited by 96,500 coulombs of charge. Right? So, for 9.65 into 10, so that is equal to 96.5 coulombs. For 96.5 coulombs, 3 grams metal deposited. 96,500 coulombs, how much amount of metal will deposit? 96,500 into 3 by 96.5. So it is here we have to change the time in seconds, right? So Q equal to C into T. C 9.65 into T 10 into 6. So 9.65 into 600 coulombs. For 9.65 into 600 coulombs, 3 grams metal deposited. For 96,500 coulombs, what is the mass of the metal deposit? 96,500 into 3 by 9.65 into 600. This is the equivalent weight of metal. Or you can also apply the formula. You can also apply the formula W equal to ECT by F. W 3 grams, equivalent weight we have to find out 9.65, 10 into 60 by 96,500. So therefore E equal to 96,500 into 3 by 9.65 into 10 into 60. So this is the equivalent weight of the metal. the quantity of electricity required for the reduction of 1 mole of Fe2O3 to Fe is. Now see, 1 mole of Fe2O3 contains Fe3 plus and O2 minus. Right? Fe2O3 ferric oxide, iron is in +3 oxidation state. So Fe3 plus ions are present in the electrolyte. Okay. Now 2 Fe3 plus ions in 1 mole Fe2O3, right? 1 mole Fe2O3 contains 2 mole Fe3 plus ions, 2 mole iron. So 6 electrons are required, right? So 2 mole Fe3 plus ions, which are present in 1 mole of Fe2O3, require 6 Faradays of charge. Three Faradays of electricity is passed through molten Al2O3, aqueous copper sulfate, and molten NaCl. The amounts of aluminum, copper, and sodium deposited at cathodes will be in the molar ratio. Now see, Al2O3 contains Al3 plus ions. CuSO4 solution, this is molten. Cu2 plus ions will discharge. Next, NaCl molten. So Na plus ions. So here Al3 plus 3 electrons gives rise to Al. Cu2 plus 2 electrons gives rise to Cu. Na plus electron gives rise to Na. So here equivalent weight of aluminum is 9 grams. Equivalent weight is 31.75 grams. Equivalent weight of sodium is 23 grams. 3 Faradays of charge passed through electrolytes. So 3 into 9, 27 grams. 31.75 into 3 grams copper will deposit. 23 into 3 grams sodium will deposit. Now, number of moles 27 mass, 27 atomic weight. 31.75 into 3 by 63.5 because atomic weight of copper is 63.5. 23 into 3 by 23 atomic weight of sodium. So 27 gets cancelled, it is equal to 1. This is 31.75, 2 times 3 by 2, 1.5, and 23 gets cancelled, 3. So therefore, number of moles of aluminium, copper, sodium deposited at cathodes is in the ratio 1:1.5:3 or 2:3:6. So we'll continue the next class.